A 20-year-old student went for a run and vanished without a trace. The entire country followed the search for her. While the police couldn't find a single lead, the truth, uncovered with the help of surveillance camera footage, shocked all of America and sparked fierce debate. Today, we're going to tell you the story of Mollie Tibbetts and what her disappearance led to. Mollie Tibbetts was born on May 8, 1998, in San Francisco, California. When she was in the second grade, her parents divorced, and Mollie moved to Iowa with her mother and two brothers. Her father, however, remained close with his children. After graduating from high school, she enrolled at the University of Iowa, majoring in psychology. In her free time, she worked at a day camp for children at a regional medical center. She led an active lifestyle, played sports, and had many friends. Her Instagram, which we'll link in the description, is filled with cheerful photos and a bio that reads, "It's a great day to be alive." She spent the summer of 2018 in the tiny town of Brooklyn, also in Iowa. Its area is just over 3 square kilometers, about 1.2 square miles, with a population of only 1,400 people. It seemed that in such a quiet place where everyone knows each other, nothing terrible could happen. On July 18, 2018, Mollie went for a run. In Brooklyn, she was living with her boyfriend, Dalton Jack, at his brother's house. That evening, she was home alone. Her boyfriend had left for a work trip in another city, 210 kilometers, 130 miles away. Mollie sent him a photo on Snapchat and went for her run at about 7:30 p.m. The next day, Mollie was supposed to be at work, but she never showed up. This deeply concerned her family and boyfriend. They all knew she was extremely responsible and would never miss work without notice. Furthermore, she wasn't answering calls or texts. Eventually, her parents decided to contact the police, who began the search for Mollie. From the very first days, the case attracted nationwide attention. For the residents of Brooklyn, the young woman's disappearance was a true shock. Nothing like it had ever happened in their tiny town. People never locked their doors and felt completely safe. Mollie's father, Rob Tibbetts, came to Brooklyn from San Francisco and took an active part in the search. He distributed flyers with her photos, questioned people, and did everything he could to help the investigation. Her parents held out hope until the very end that their daughter would be found alive and well. 3 agencies joined the search: the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation, DCI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, and the Poweshiek County Sheriff's Office. Together, they investigated over 200 leads and interviewed about 500 people. The search for Mollie was spread across the entire vicinity of Brooklyn. At one point, law enforcement received a tip that Mollie had been seen at a truck stop in Kearney, Missouri, 380 kilometers, 235 miles, from Brooklyn. Police investigated the information, but could not find any confirmation. As is standard in such cases, police investigated the possibility of her boyfriend's involvement. Statistically, most crimes of this nature are committed by relatives or close acquaintances. But not this time. Her boyfriend's alibi was ironclad. He was indeed in another city, and physically could not have been in Brooklyn that evening. Time passed, but the search for Mollie yielded no results. The DCI announced a cash reward for any information leading to her safe return. The amount grew steadily, eventually reaching $366,000. This was a substantial amount of money even by U.S. standards, and for Iowa, it was a record-breaking reward. At one point, the police announced they were narrowing the search to several locations around Brooklyn: her boyfriend's house, a few local farms, a gas station, a truck stop, and a car wash. But none of this helped find Mollie. The police received hundreds of tips, each leading the investigation to a dead end. However, one incident seemed very strange. The owner of a pig farm, where police had focused their search, was extremely reluctant to cooperate with law enforcement. He denied any involvement in Mollie's disappearance, but refused to take a polygraph test. This made him a prime suspect, but there was no evidence against him. This meant the police could neither interrogate the man nor search his farm. As a result, the investigation hit another dead end. The police tried to find any link between the farm and Mollie's disappearance, but they came up with nothing, at least not at that moment.
Everything changed on August 21st. A few days prior, a law enforcement source had told reporters that police had found the body of a young white woman. Naturally, everyone immediately assumed it was Mollie, and they were right. On August 21st, the police made an official statement. Mollie Tibbetts' body had been found in Poweshiek County, where Brooklyn is located. Her parents identified their daughter. Investigators immediately noticed that two items she always carried were missing: her smartphone and her fitness tracker. Soon after, the medical examiner released the official cause of death. She had been attacked and stabbed multiple times with a sharp object. This shocked the residents of Brooklyn even more. They all knew each other and couldn't imagine that a brutal criminal was living among them. The newspapers also sensationalized the story, making it a topic of conversation across America. The resolution to this horrific crime was not long in coming. Almost immediately after finding the body, police arrested 24-year-old Christian Bahena Rivera, an undocumented immigrant from Mexico who had illegally entered the U.S. 7 years prior. During that time, he had worked on various farms under the alias John Budd. Police identified Rivera by reviewing surveillance footage from near Mollie's usual running route. In the footage, they noticed a Chevrolet Malibu driving back and forth on the road for no apparent reason. It's unclear exactly how the police obtained a confession. According to the official version, Rivera confessed as soon as they questioned him. He stated that he was driving past the road where Mollie was running. He found her attractive and drove past her a few more times. It was likely these movements that the police spotted on the surveillance cameras. At one point, he stopped his car, got out, and started running alongside Mollie. He began verbally harassing her, trying to win her affection. Mollie was not interested and threatened to call the police. When she reached for her phone, Rivera attacked her. He then dumped her body in a cornfield and fled. Once in custody, Rivera suddenly changed his strategy, claiming he had no memory of that evening. It's possible his lawyer convinced him to retract his confession. Charges were filed against Rivera on August 22nd. At his trial, which began on September 19th, he pleaded not guilty. The trial dragged on for 3 years, largely due to his lawyers. Rivera's relatives hired 2 attorneys who did everything in their power to secure an acquittal, or, at the very least, the minimum possible sentence. The whole of America followed the trial. The reason was that the crime was committed during the presidency of Donald Trump. As many of you know, Trump advocated for stricter immigration laws, with a particular focus on Mexico. The Trump administration used Rivera's crime to its full advantage. The tragic fate of Mollie Tibbetts was used as an example of why America needed Trump's reforms. However, her father was vehemently opposed to his daughter's death being used in political debates. But no one listened to him. The story of one young woman resonated across the country, primarily in the context of immigration laws. After all, it's hard to disagree that undocumented immigrants pose a threat when a case like this appears right under your nose. The pace of the trial was also affected by the pandemic, and the main hearings only began on May 17, 2021. Rivera continued to insist on his innocence, but he stood no chance. On May 28, the court delivered its verdict: guilty of first-degree murder. Rivera received the maximum sentence in Iowa, life in prison without the possibility of parole. He will now spend many years in prison, supported by American taxpayers.
Politics aside, the story of Mollie Tibbetts once again shows us a sad truth. Danger can await anyone where they least expect it, and none of us are safe. Stay vigilant and take care of yourselves, and thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel to listen to these real and scary stories. Sometimes these stories end well, but more often badly. It's disturbing.